Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge, day number 6. My name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist at Adobe, and you are joining me live on Behance. And hello, good morning to Eric and Leslie and Dennis and Ava and Anzi and Andy and Adobe Live, which is the amazing Gus Spot, and everyone else who's joining us. If you are tuning in live on this lovely Tuesday morning, definitely let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from. And if this is your first time watching, maybe it's even your first time using Adobe XD. I always love hearing when people are jumping in fresh, brand new to the application. And hey, Roman and Daniel and Jason and everyone else who's tuning in. So we have a pretty packed week for all of you. We've got UI and UX week. I'm kicking things off this morning with the Daily Creative Challenge. Then right after me, we've got Jennifer, and then we've got Jill, and then we've got Ainsley. We've got some great designers coming up just in a little bit. So we got me for half an hour. You're stuck with me. I know, not very exciting. But then we got some amazing UI and UX designers coming right after me. So definitely stick around for that. And hey, Lee and David and Nicholas, John, Elza, Elle, everyone else who's joining me. So what do we have planned for today? Well, we're kind of bouncing off of what we did yesterday. So let me hop over here. This is the Daily Creative Challenge landing page. Let me just refresh this to make sure that all the templates at the bottom of the page are up to date. Here we go. So here's the Daily Creative landing page, behance.net/Daily Creative Challenge. Pretty easy to remember. And if you are not registered this time, don't worry too much about it. You will be able to register for the next Daily Creative Challenge. But in the meantime, hey, Michael Crabtree, one of our awesome Adobe Live guests, stuck with Howard, I know. Make sure to hit that big blue button at the top. You can join us on Slack, and Slack is always a good time. If I hop over here, here's our Slack channel. And oh, here, Lee just posted an announcement that I am live. It's like Liveception. We've got 14,065 people joining us on Slack. We've got an ask a question section. If you have questions about XD, design, whatever it might be, you can chat. You can get feedback, which is always fun. And if you are looking for feedback, definitely let us know what you're looking for feedback on, whether it's colors, character styles, user flow, whatever it might be. Be specific, because our mentors they're being pulled in all different directions by so many amazing designs that are coming in. So definitely let them know what you're looking for feedback on. And once you receive feedback, go ahead and give some feedback. You know, Nicole's looking for some feedback, and Rob and Daniel, hop in there. Tell them what you think. And then introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, where you're from, what you do in the UI and UX world, or maybe you're not even in the UI UX world. Maybe you're just getting into it. So that's Slack. So every day you're going to receive a new challenge. You're going to join me. Again, you're stuck with me at 8:30 in the morning every single day. And then you're going to use Adobe XD to design and prototype whatever that theme is. And if you've been paying attention, hey, good morning, Heather. If you've been paying attention to the last 2 weeks, we've been kind of tackling a single challenge with multiple challenges, if that makes any sense, over 2 weeks. So we started with a design system right down here. And then we went to low fidelity screens. We defined the user flow last week. We learned how to share and review most of it. We're going to revisit that in the next few days. And then we're now designing our high fidelity screen. And this is all for a music mobile app on your phone or tablet or whatever it might be. Hey, Chris, I did not say your name, but welcome. So that's kind of what we're doing. And let me hop over to Behance for a section, because you definitely want to make sure to use the keyword XD Daily Challenge. That way we can hop on Behance, search for it, and then sort by most recent. And then we can see all your amazing work. And I want to just highlight just a few of them before I jump into today's challenge. There are so many to look through, but these are a few that really stood out. This one is from Maf. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. And there's a nice little style guide at the top. Some really nice looking gradients, icons, user flow, very in-depth user flow. And then we've got some high fidelity prototypes and mock-ups down here. I'm kind of digging this gradient at the bottom. It's very difficult to pull off gradients like this in a dark UI, but I think this is working. I'm digging it. Next, we've got Daniel, who is in the chat this morning, and I highlight Daniel's work a lot because it really just stands out. It's really nice. And if anyone's having issues with the Slack link, we'll definitely post in the chat right now a working link. There's some caching issues on the back end that prevents it from working. So this one is from Daniel. Again, design system at the top, got the low fidelity mockups, crazy in-depth user flow. And then he added in the high fidelity screens here yesterday, and things are just looking fancy. And today our task is to, define and polish up those high fidelity mock-ups. So I think this is going to be, Daniel's is going to really stand out, I think. Next, we've got Tan, who also has a design system at the top. Really nice looking logo with this cool gradient. And these images are just really, I love the look of this mood board. It's just very futuristic, a lot of neon and gradients going on. I'm kind of digging it. Typography using the Rubik font, colors with this really cool gradient, icons, and then down here we've got some low fidelity and a little bit of a high fidelity mock-up. And then finally, we've got this one from Jason, who's also in the chat, and I saw Heather post on, she posted her low fidelity on Slack as well, and those look pretty good. I could find them this morning, but check that out. Here we go. So here's some more high fidelity wires from Jason. And I love when, mock-ups and actual real world devices are used for things like this. So that looks really nice. All right. So with that being said, let's hop over to Adobe XD and let's tackle a few things. So here is kind of what we accomplished yesterday. And looking at this after looking at all of your amazing work that you've uploaded to Behance, this looks pretty terrible. But, I only have half an hour every single morning to kind of push through this stuff, so you'll have to deal with it. Definitely Daniel's and Jason's and Moff's much better than mine, but, we'll work on it. So we're going to tackle a few things in this stream. We're going to create a little bit of a secondary bar. So on some music apps, right above the navigation bar at the bottom, there's this other bar that kind of shows you the progress or the currently playing song or album or whatever it might be. So we're going to create something similar to that. So where are we going to create it? Well, let's actually create it on the home screen. Why not, right? And we can always, because it'll be a symbol, we can always move it to other screens. And if we decide to update it, it'll also, populate that change. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my rectangle tool and simply draw out a rectangle. And you're noticing as I'm moving this around, all my smart guides are letting me know that this is lined up to this bar. If I wanted it to be lined up here, it'll be lined up there, but I want it right on the edge, and I'm simply going to drag out a box just like this. I'm going to make it large on purpose, and you'll probably find out why I'm doing that in a little bit. Drop it right there, use my eyedropper tool, press the I key on my keyboard, boop, there we go. Not too worried about a border at the moment. I do want to kind of flush with the bottom navigation bar, and I'm going to make sure to name this. This is going to be currently playing. And I'll put in a group after. So once that's done, I do want a little favorite button. And I do have one right over here. I'm just going to grab this, copy it, and paste it over here. And it is a symbol, so it maintains those symbol properties. I'll put it about 16 pixels from the side. There we go. Perfect. Now over on the right, I want the currently playing album. So I'm going to grab my ellipse tool. I'm going to drag one out, holding down my shift key to make sure that it's a perfect circle. And yeah, Raphael, the eyedrop shortcut is in. And I can hold down my option key or alt key to see what the distance is from the circle to the side. So I'm going to bump it up a little bit, 15, 16 pixels, that looks good. Make sure it's centered in the middle. Again, my smart guides are really nice, letting me know where things are centered. And I might want an image. I'm going to kind of bounce off of this one right over here. So I'm going to hop over to Finder, grab this image, and just drag it into Adobe XD, making sure it's over top of that circle, and pop it in there. Perfect. Now, next, we need some song titles. We need an album name, song titles, whatever it might be. So I'm going to simply type out song title. And I want you, as I'm doing this, to give me a song title. So again, the album, as we defined yesterday, is Booping at Adobe. So I want a song title and an artist that goes along with Booping at Adobe. I'm going to make sure it has my font selected, and it does. I'll drop that down to, let's say, regular, so it's not super bold. And we'll try 14 at the moment. We'll see what that looks like. That's 11. Let's bump it up to 16. Perfect. All right. Drop that down, make sure it's right justified so it lines up with that, and this will be artist name. This is going to be a little bit smaller. 12 looks good. Make sure to line it up. And I'm going to drop the opacity and the weight as well. There we go. Alrighty. We might get to repeat grids, Anzi. Maybe. We'll see. Perfect. All right. That looks a little bit too light, so I'm going to bring that up. Let's say to light. That's a bit better. All right. Get my boop on. Ooh. Grids, grids, grids by repeating Howard. Oh boy. Okay, I'm going to go with get my boop on. That was the first one that I saw. With 2 T's or 1 T? I'll leave it at 1. Get my boop on. And I'll go with David's repeating Howard. Bam. All right. Perfect. So now we have all the elements in this currently playing bar. So we want to make sure to put them in a group. So I'm going to grab all of them in my layers panel, Command and Control G, and I'll name this currently playing. Perfect. So now we have this cool bar, and as I'm going to give a little bit of a tease at what we're going to do is tomorrow we're going to be doing a little bit of prototyping, and we want to make sure that this is animated so that it kind of leads into something like this. And I'm actually going to tweak this a little bit so that it's rounded. And because it was a rectangle, all I had to do was just do that. Now, of course, when we do get to prototyping, this will not animate properly because these elements are not the same, the layer names are not the same, but we're going to deal with that in a little bit, probably tomorrow once we get to the prototyping phase. But I want to get to a few more things that I think would be kind of cool. And if we do have time at the end of today's stream, which is about 10 minutes from now, we'll polish this up a little bit. But I want to show you, I kind of talked about the songs yesterday and using a plugin to bring those songs in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab this playlist artboard up here. I'm going to reuse it. Just drag it down here. And this is going to be where our top 10 songs are going to live. So this might be, I'm going to make sure to center it, and this will be top 10 songs. Make sure to make that white. There we go. I don't need my playlist button. And I'm going to make sure this is my repeat grid over here, and even after I've made some edits, I can always just drag this down the artboard. I want 10 of them. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can kind of see it down there. It's kind of difficult to see, but it is down there. And I can always move this up if I needed to, just to make sure I have everything in place. And it looks like I do. I want to make sure to move it behind the navigation bar so I can use Command and Control and then the left bracket, and that will just do it for me, or I can just move it up and down in my layers stack. I'm also going to move it over just a little bit because I know that the song titles are going to be a little bit long. I'm going to move this so I have a little bit more room. Perfect. And I want to make sure that I'm using area text and it's as far over as I can, because again, the song titles are going to be a little bit long. We want to make sure there's a little bit of room. And I'm going to decrease the font just a touch. Okay, maybe a little bit more than a touch. Perfect. All right. So basically what's going to happen now is this is going to be the song title. This is going to be the artist. So I'm going to go ahead in my layers panel. I'm going to make sure to name these. So this is going to be song title. This one is going to be artist. And this I'm going to use for the image. So I'm going to just name this image. Perfect. All right, Sarah's asking, how do you export artboards to Behance? I'm actually going to be talking more about that on, I believe, Thursday. We tried to do that on Friday, but there were some audio issues, but more on that is coming. So now that we have this repeat grid in place with all of the elements that we want, of course, we could go ahead and grab some images from Finder, just like we've done in the past, and drag them into the repeat grid. We can also drag in text files into this repeat grid, and it's going to populate. But I do want to show you something really cool that I've really been using a lot lately, and that's the Google Sheets plugin. And you can find that under plugins. You can go to Discover Plugins, and then when this loads, you'll just type in Google Sheets. And that's the plugin you'll want to install. Now over here in Finder, or not in Finder, in Google, I have this this Google Sheet that I put together. It just has a few columns, songs, artists, and album image. And I will go ahead and share this in chat right now. It is view only, so you won't be able to edit it, but you can use that as an example to kind of see how this is working. And what's cool about this is if you're working with a development team or a copywriter or whoever it might be, someone who's handling a lot of text and data, you can work with this person, or you can do it on yourself. If you're downloading CSVs from somewhere, you can basically just import all this stuff and kind of line it up with your layers. So let me show you how that works. So I'm going to copy this URL, and there's a lot of people that just jumped in here. I'm going to hop back over to Adobe XD, and with this repeat grid selected, I'm going to go up to plugins and then go down to Google Sheets and then paste public link. And this will allow me to just paste this link right into this URL box. I'm going to continue, and I want to make sure that all the layer names are lined up with the columns on this sheet. So artist, this is the XD element, that the ones I named on the left. I'm going to make sure it's linked up with artist. This is going to be album image, and this is going to be song title. So this one right here. And again, it lines it up right here. And watch this. All I had to do was make sure that the layer name corresponds with the column in my Google Sheet. And when I press apply, it brings in all that stuff. And it's super cool, super fast, and it just works. So if you have, again, if you have CSV files or Google Sheets filled with information that you need to get into Adobe XD, use the Google Sheets plugin. And there are a few other plugins that will do something similar, but I just find that super cool and super helpful. I know, Gordon, it's magic. So that was a lot quicker than I expected. So we're going to tackle this screen here. We're going to make some changes, right? So this one here, we actually want to delete this. We're going to make this a circle. So I'm going to grab my ellipse, just drag this up. That is an awesome plugin. If you're not using Google Sheets and you do work a lot with data, definitely give that a shot. It's pretty neat. I know, isn't that cool? So I have my circle here. I'm going to go back over to Finder, grab this, drag it in. Now I want to make sure, because this is going to help us tomorrow, that all of this has the same layer name. So this one I'm going to name current album. There we go. And I want to make sure that this one is also named current album. Perfect. That will allow us, when we do get to prototyping, that if we do animate these things, which we might do, that they animate properly. I'm going to move the song title and artist up. And this one is going to be, what was my, oh yeah, get my boop on. Get my boop on. There we go. And yeah, you can, Bohana, you can definitely still join Slack. There is a link floating around. The one, you might run into some caching issues, but someone will post it in the Behance Slack or chat in just a moment. Make sure that's regular to line up. And this one is repeating Howard. Whoa. Perfect. I want to make sure it's pretty much the same. So this is 12 and light. This one could be a little bit bigger because it is, there we go. And opacity 37% to be exact. I can just type in the number 37 on my keyboard and it will do just that. Beautiful. I can make sure all these are nicely aligned, so I can rearrange this a little bit. Grab all of this, move this up, and I might want to bring this back as well. Oh, I lost my little indicator. I'm gonna copy that, paste it back over there. There we go. So now that these are kind of, looking pretty decent, if we were to animate this right now, we want to make sure we're in a good spot for tomorrow. Things still would not animate correctly because this is in a group called currently playing. None of this is in a group called currently playing. So what we're going to do, we're going to make sure to select all these elements, every single one that's here, group it, Command and Control G, and make sure this is called currently playing. Perfect. I can move it at the top. Great. So now tomorrow, what the plan is, we kind of want this bar at the bottom to kind of slide up when someone taps on it. It's going to start playing the music, but it's also going to lead us to this screen here. I can probably move this one back, make sure this is all nice in order, and it's going to lead us to this one. So it's really important that the layer names are the same, the groups are the same, and if we really want to get fancy, we can also start to use some masks. So we can mask all these elements inside of this area. And if we do that, let me show you how that's done. So let me grab this currently playing bar at the bottom, right? We're going to duplicate it, Command and Control G, and move it up to the top. Now with that done, we're going to select all of this stuff. So you basically want to select the mask at the top and then select all the layers underneath it. You're going to go to Object and then Mask with Shape. It's going to basically take all of these elements and put them inside of the mask right here. And let me name this currently. I have a lot of layer names named currently playing. Perfect. All right. So now what we could do, hypothetically, is just copy this, paste it on this artboard, and then just start to rearrange things. Now, of course, with responsive resize, you can make sure things are not stretching like they just did. But we can just go ahead and rename these, move them around, move the mask up, move this bar up, and then start moving these in place. There we go. Move that right about there, make it bigger. And doing all this work will allow us to basically make sure that everything animates properly when we do get to that phase tomorrow. And we're going to move this some right about there. And what we could do is hide this, grab these layers, copy, copy. There we go. I have that one, copy. I'm going to copy these, bring this back, and just hop into this mask and just paste them. There we go. Just like that. Move this down. Beautiful. All right. Now, of course, this layer, this, and this, and this do not exist in the other mask on the first artboard. So if I copy this, I can just hop over here, jump into the mask, and paste it. I'm going to move it down so it's not visible. And because it is within that little tiny mask, if I click out, it won't be seen. So tomorrow you're going to see the magic of auto animate. Now that we have kind of everything in place, it's going to look pretty nice. And of course I can make some adjustments, whoops, here so we can see that right there. And maybe we want this to kind of fade away. Whoops. Okay, that'll do. Maybe we want it a different color. Perfect. Nope, that wasn't perfect. That's the one. That's perfect. Okay. Roman is saying, do you think you can talk to the XD team and see if they can collaborate with Adobe Comp? I would love to see something like Adobe Comp within XD as, you know, the very basic wireframing phase. I know it's been discussed. I know many people have suggested it. I don't know what yeah, Andy posted user voice. So definitely hop into user voice and make sure to upvote that, comment on it, and that sort of thing. But the team is, they've heard it. So, who knows? It might happen. But it might not. I'm not sure. All right, so there we go. So I can probably go ahead and delete this one because we've pretty much... Actually, we'll keep this one because we might want to grab song name down here. And we might actually put it... If we move all this stuff up, we can actually put it at the bottom of this artboard. Copy all these, grab these, move this up a little bit. And then right here, we can put song name. So this could be up next. Just like that. There we go. So if you want to very quickly get to additional songs, and this is the kind of cool thing I like about designing is as you are continuing to build out your high fidelity prototypes and even low fidelity, you start realizing that maybe this element should be on this artboard and maybe this one should not be on this artboard and maybe I don't like this artboard at all. And you start to get these new ideas and eventually your design will just blossom into something really cool. So now that that's done, I can delete this. And what you're going to learn tomorrow is we'll be able to actually pull out our artboards down the screen. So we'll be able to actually see, this is a better example. And we'll be able to scroll. So very quickly, if I just preview this prototype, I'll be able to scroll. And then I can grab my navigation bar, make sure to fix it, and I can scroll down the artboard. And we'll talk more about this tomorrow as we start prototyping and animating some of these things. But that's kind of where we're at. We accomplished a little bit today, not a lot, but I think a lot of this stuff is going to help us a lot for tomorrow and our prototyping phase, but it's going to be fun. So if you are joining us for the rest of the day, definitely stick around. In a few minutes, we've got, who is coming up next? I forgot already. We got Jennifer and Melody coming up in just a few minutes for some more UI and UX goodness. I'll be back tomorrow morning with day 7 of the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge, where we're going to tackle some prototyping and a little bit of auto animate. It's going to be kind of fun. So I'll see you all tomorrow bright and early, and there's a Slack link floating around if you want to join Slack. We're going to figure out those caching issues, but we'll see you all later. Bye.